Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. And what I mean when I say this is that video game collectors and video game resellers often want very different things when they're out in the field hunting for video games. And I think a lot of times collectors and resellers often get thrown in the same bucket, and when it comes to purchasing video games, I think they're radically different in terms of the things that they want and in terms of the things that they're trying to add to their inventory. Now, me personally, I got a comment on my channel from a subscriber asking me to talk more about how I go about selling my games or selling the games out of the collection whenever I'm doing a purge. And I guess they kind of wanted me to elaborate on how I leverage things like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, so on and so forth. And so I thought that now would be a really good time to talk about this because I have a really good example of how I kind of maximize, my collection and some of the strategies that I use. Now, these three games that you're looking at here, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario All-Stars, these are three games that I recently just sold as part of a bundle to pick up a copy of Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Now, I had no problems giving up those games that I traded out for Silent Hill because I knew that I would easily be able to add those games back into my collection. These were three games that I picked up during GameStop's recent buy two get one free promotion. And so I was able to reacquire these games at a discounted price. And once I'm ready to kind of move them out of my collection again, I'll be able to maximize their value using that free game to kind of boost up some of that trade-in value. Um, and the reason why I follow this strategy is because resellers are often looking for things. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. I find myself often selling more to resellers than anyone else, to be quite honest with you. You'll find that when you're selling games day to day, it's very rare that you'll be selling to another collector. And if you are, you'll realize that the things that you sell to another collector is very different from the things that you'll sell to a reseller. Now, resellers typically look for games that will move fast. So they're usually looking for games like Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario All-Stars because they're popular titles, they're very recognizable titles. They're not so expensive that most people won't be willing to pay for them, but there's enough margin in there for resellers to make some money or make it worth their while to sell these games. So these are the type of games that resellers will go after. And while yes, these are games that I do like to have in my collection, um, if I did have to give something away or sell something out of my collection, these are probably some of the games that I would sell first because there's a multitude of ways for me to play those games. But then you have a game like Raw Danger, which is a recent pickup. I actually just got a copy of Raw Danger the other day. And Raw Danger isn't a game that most resellers will want to have in their inventory because there's a very small market that's really looking for a game like Raw Danger. In fact, most casual gamers out there don't even know that Raw Danger exists, to be honest with you. This is a game that I really like because it reminds me of another game that I have in my collection called Disaster Report. And I actually had Raw Danger in my collection before I sold off a huge chunk of my PS2 collection. So I've been wanting to get this back in my collection for quite some time. I found a good copy, so I added it back. But this isn't a game that resellers will go for. Resellers are going to go for the Super Mario games, the Pokemon games, right? Things like that. Resellers would rather get a Game Boy Advance SP than deal with a Game Gear because the market is a lot broader for a Game Boy Advance SP. And so when it comes to how I sell games out of my collection, I honestly, to be quite honest with you, I don't really do a ton of selling. I find myself doing more trading than I do selling because trading is where I actually get the max value for the things that I have in my collection. Unless it's like a one-off type of game, Maybe if it's like a one-off type of game, I might sell that on eBay. I might post that game up if it's something that I'm looking for full price for because I have a lot into the game, which isn't many games in my collection. Then that's something that will go on like an eBay or maybe Mercari or something like that. I don't do Whatnot and I don't do Encore just because I'm not really into that. I'm not at that place. Like I don't want to leverage my audience for that. Like I have a growing community. It's a growing community here, and I pretty much just like to talk about games on the channel. I don't really do the Discord thing or the membership thing or the Patreon thing. And people have told me in the past, like, dude, you should start a Patreon. You should do a Discord membership. You should. And honestly, like, I just like it to be free, loose, and fun. There's no commitment when you come to my channel and watch my videos. If you subscribe at your own risk, right? Like, I'm not going to ask you to do that. Like, I always say, I want the people who want to be here to be here. Um, but I don't, want to do the encore or the whatnot thing just because I'm not trying to do anything like that. So if it is a game that I think is like of high dollar value, there might be some people that I have in mind that I'm like, you know what, I think I know who might want to buy this. And I'll just go directly to that person individually and say, hey, listen, I've got this. Do you think you would want this? And if they're not interested, then I'll go to someone else. Or I'll kind of canvas people that are in my network. And if I see something that they have in their, e-store, or if they have something on their online shop, I might go to them and say, hey, I've got these games, are you interested in these, because I'm interested in this thing that you have in your collection. So I do a lot more trading at this stage of the game than I do selling, just because with most mom and pop shops, first of all, mom and pop shops aren't going to give you anything close to the value of what your games are worth. So the only games that I bring to a mom and pop shop are the games that I can get more for by trading in at GameStop, or games that I just can't sell anywhere else. Maybe it's a game that's been on eBay. I've had it on my eBay store for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's just not selling. If it's a game that I think is a decent game, but I just know it won't sell because there's no market for it, I'd rather just get it out of my inventory, sell it, and get as much cash for it as I can to put into a different game. So to answer that question, yeah, I don't really do a ton of selling. If I do any type of selling, it's usually direct to, I have like direct buyers that I go to that will buy stuff from me, that know me, that I have somewhat of a relationship with, or I'll just do like the mom and pop thing. Now, this is a very tricky time of year because GameStop literally just ended their buy two get one promotion. So this batch of games is the first of many that are going to be coming in, because all the games that I traded away to pick up those Silent Hill games, I just picked them right back up on a buy two get one. So, honestly, when you spend, excuse me, not only am I getting like buy two get one promotions, but then with a lot of the games that I got in store, you're also getting an additional $25 off when you spend 250, plus your pro membership discounts. So all those discounts over time start to stack up. And when you are able to convert all of those savings into quality, good trade credit for quality games, that's where it works out for me in the end. Now, while I was out today, there were some games that GameStop had, and it's so crazy because I made a post today talking about how it's crazy how right after the promotion ends, that's when they finally put the good stuff on the shelf. But I did pick up a bunch of really quality titles from GameStop that they finally released now that the promotion was over. And some of them I'm going to be adding to the collection. Some of them I actually realized I already had copies of. So I may either take them back, or they might become trade bait like for the future. So future trade bait. So I'll show you what I got, because this is the second to last day of any kind of game hunting in the field. So I was pretty stoked to find these. First game was this copy of Sikayo Shooting Library. This was just a pickup that I got to take advantage of the $25 off. So I was pretty close to getting that amount off anyway. And so it basically got me this game free. Like this was it was kind of like a no-brainer. With the amount that I was spending, it just made sense for me to pick this one up. So if you're not familiar with the CKO Shooting Stars series, I actually have this series on the Nintendo Switch, but this is the version for the PlayStation 4. This is a collection of some really dope shooters. So if you've never heard of this, I suggest you check it out. If you're a fan of shoot 'em ups, this is something that I highly recommend you check out. This version is cheaper than like the big box version on the Switch. The big box version I think is like 50 or 60 bucks, but for 30 bucks you get a bunch of titles. You get uh the ones that I know of personally are Gunbird. I have Gunbird on the Sega Saturn, Gunbird 2, which I have on the Sega Dreamcast. You also got Barichi, I think that's how you say that. I'm not sure how you say that. And these ones up here, I've never really played before. Samurai Aces 3. I'm anxious to check that out. That actually looks pretty cool. Then you have Samurai Aces and Tengai. So some really cool games here. Two of which I know of because I've owned them before, and then the other four I'm really anxious to check out. So I might have to plug up my PS4 and get this going later on today. But I was glad to actually add a dope collection of shoot 'em ups to the collection. So that one I did pick up. They did have this copy of Deadpool. I've had a copy of Deadpool on the PS3 before, but it didn't come with the little insert. I guess this is the like complete in box version for the PlayStation 3. I don't think this game ever came with an actual manual, but it does come with like this little guide to like the buttons. So I did pick this one up because it did come with a little guide. I'll probably do a case swap on this one and just add it to my PS3 collection there. God of War collection. I think I have this one already. So this is one that I'll have to check my actual wall for to see if I actually have this one. But this might be one I have. This would be a condition upgrade though. So may keep this one and then sell the other one because this one is in like really good condition. So this was a nice condition upgrade. Another condition upgrade, Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Another condition upgrade here. Again, with this, I got the membership discount, but then also got the additional 10% off because of the amount that I spent there. So, I mean, not the greatest deal in the world, but it definitely isn't that $40 price tag. It definitely helps knocking some of that off, bringing this down to closer to 30 bucks. So Transformers Fall of Cybertron, again, this is a condition upgrade. Even if I don't keep it and I wind up selling it, this would be a great condition upgrade for me. The manual was in good condition there on that one. Then you have, almost said Star Wars, Transformers War for Cybertron. This one I know is a condition upgrade because my current copy is nowhere near as clean. The manual that I have isn't as good. This one actually has a little bit of wrinkle to it, but this too is a condition upgrade. And I'm surprised that they have War for Cybertron priced cheaper than Fall of Cybertron, because if I'm not mistaken, this one is actually the more expensive copy or the more expensive game of the two. But hey, it is what it is. It's GameStop pricing for you. Then picked up this copy of God of War Origins collection. So this is pretty cool. These are the two PSP God of War games that they have here in this collection. If I'm not mistaken, Chains of Olympus and Ghosts of Sparta. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these were the two PSP games that they had there. So added this one as well. This one too might be a condition upgrade because I think I may already have this one in the collection. So we'll probably do a swap out and then sell the other game. And then the last, this is one that I've been trying to get for some time. I've seen this disc only a bunch of times at different GameStops, but for the first time they finally had it complete with the manual, and that is Blitz the League 2. I was actually a big fan of like football games, especially in high school, like between, I would say between like Madden 2000 all the way up to like Madden 2005. 2005 was probably where I dropped off with the Madden games, just because I think around 05 was when I was getting more serious with my undergraduate studies, and I was just doing more like social things, you know, hanging out with friends and going out and doing stuff. So like I kind of just stopped playing video games altogether, like on a consistent basis. I still had consoles here and there, but you know, undergraduate was when you start actually living life, you start touching grass and you know, doing things. But they had Blitz the League 2 there, and yeah, this is one that it's like almost impossible to find with the manual. So they did have the manual there, not bad condition on that. So I was actually glad to find this complete and snag that one up as well. So again, pretty good deal on all of these at GameStop here. I want to say like a bunch of these will probably get sold. At least half of these will get sold. Gonna be keeping for sure Blitz, Deadpool, and CKO. As far as like the Transformers and the God of War games, these will be probably condition upgrades and then will go back out for to be sold. And honestly, in selling these four, I'll probably recoup a lot of what was spent at GameStop. So, you know, pretty good deal there. But all in all, you know, I know what I want in my collection. I know the types of games that I want to have. I do want those action hack and slash shoot 'em up type games. I don't mind having the AAA legacy like classic titles in my collection either. But I do know that if I have to leverage games in my collection to get other games that I want, the first ones to go will be like the Marios, the very like common, you know, well-known games, just because I'm more of like a niche collector. Like I like games like Nano Assault and, you know, CKO Shooting Stars, you know, things like that. You know, I'm more into that. So and plus, you know, as time changes and as collecting habits change and as people's interests change and as what's hype changes, because hype controls price for sure. Hype definitely controls price to a large part. So, you know, that's, you know, resellers, I think, follow more of the hype because that's what's going to kind of dictate how they, you know, get their biggest bang for buck. But collectors kind of just stick to what they really like and what they're into. And I don't really think they follow the hype train. But I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments what some of your strategies for collecting, buying games, adding to your collection, selling games. I'm interested to know. That does it for me. It's the Y2K Collector, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.